Now, the cost of getting the bus is going to come down a bit for many of us in the new year. The government has revealed more details of how this scheme is going to work.
Yeah, really interesting. Will affect lots of families. Ben's here to tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is one that really affects so many people, and let me tell you why. You'd think that with all the train strikes and the high fuel prices that more of us will be taking advantage of the bus. Well, for most of us, buses are, at least at some point, a part of everyday life. Might be for getting to school, excuse me, to work for an evening out, or especially if you live in a rural area and you just want to get around. Now, although it remains the UK's most used form of transport, passenger numbers and the number of routes running have generally been falling over the last few decades. To try to reverse that, the Department of Transport is freezing bus fares at just £2 from January until March. At the moment, the average single fare is £2.80, so buses are a bit more affordable than taking the train or the car. But the hope is that the fare cap will benefit longer and more rural journeys. The scheme was announced several months ago, but more details have just been released. More than 130 bus and coach operators that run thousands of routes will be taking part. And overall, this idea will cost £60 million, and initially, it's only for England. Now, a couple of things worth mentioning. It does not include London, and the metro mayors in Greater Manchester and West Yorkshire already decided to freeze fares earlier this year. The question is, will it work?
Yeah, I mean, the benefits for passengers are fairly considerable. So the average fare for a passenger in the UK is about £2.80. So obviously the fare at £2 gives you roughly a third off. But on some very rural or long distance routes, the fare can be £10 for a single, and the £2 still applies. So it's good news for customers, and let's see if we can get some passenger numbers boosted in the January, February, March period.
Now, like most sectors, bus operators have faced problems this year. Some routes have been cut. Passenger numbers are still below what they were before the pandemic and much lower than they were a number of decades ago when fewer people had a car. Firms have also had problems attracting drivers. Nationally, vacancy rates are averaging 10%. There have also been strikes over pay and conditions in various disputes across the country. Now, passenger groups have welcomed the new scheme, but they say bus fares need to come down permanently, and they also want the government to invest more widely in the bus network to try to cut the number of cars on the road.
Congestion is choking up just about every city and town in the country at the moment. And the one thing the government could do more of to help everybody get their way through congestion is invest more in letting the bus go first. Whether it's bus lanes or traffic light signals which promote the bus, or bus-only streets, getting more people to use the bus because it's quicker and more reliable won't just help the people who are using bus, but it will help the people who, for whatever reason, need to use their car for a particular journey.
We'll have to wait and see if this idea will get more of us back on the buses long term. One interesting example to note, the route between Hull and York, a 40-mile journey, would normally cost you about £8.50 one way. It'll now only be £2. That's from January. So there are going to be some bargains out there. The question is, Nina and John, will it reverse long-term that decline we've seen in passenger numbers over the decades?
That's the complaint from lots of people. I would use the bus, but the service isn't reliable, it isn't affordable. At least that brings the price down.
It does, and I think that's it. It's about the incentives, it's about the convenience and the reliability as well. The times, you don't want to be standing for that long at a bus stop. So all of those factors, they're saying the bus fares are a good first move, but I think the firms think that actually a lot more needs to be done to make them an attractive option.
Yeah.